Hello, everybody, and welcome to the first session in. I'm on the wrong layout. Hold on. The first session of the Final Infinite, a Final Fantasy inspired D&D game that we are going to play. I'm joined by the full cast. Say hello, full cast.
Hello, full cast.
I don't like being on the receiving end.
5 out of 10. Well, there's a joke I could make about receiving ends, but
Don't start the game with that. Don't start that.
sorry. I'm very excited for this game. It was kind of a last minute switch. I didn't know we were playing, so bear with me if I'm like slightly jumbled here. But can I just start with? Can I get everybody to roll me a d20? I don't know whose dice is whose yet.
I've not made dice properly, I'm realizing.
That's fine.
Mine is going to lighten up. I didn't save the lighter version, but...
That is such a hard die to read, mate.
Yeah, I think I'm going to change it.
And I have lost.
Okay. This wasn't a win-lose thing. Oh, Foundry. Okay.
No, I've lost the Foundry.
That's fine. All right. Well, it's a good thing that I asked Charlie a bunch of questions just now because we're starting with Charlie. So I think we're going to start out kind of post what you've just told me. So you've left your office currently in a bit of a huff. Where would you be heading immediately after that? And could you tell us what your character looks like?
Sure. I would also say like Huff feels so petty compared to the like frothing rage.
Outburst. Yeah.
Yes. Frothing rage. Like it's fairly quiet, but sorry, my new headphones battery acknowledgement is really shrill. So it's less of a stomp, but as Orion is leaving this office and leaving the school grounds, there's this moment where there are students milling about the grounds, so Orion has to like sweep into like a space between two buildings to kind of avoid notice. It's not something that he's accustomed to doing, and like you can just see like his like kind of brings his shoulders in and tucks his head and like brings up brings a hat down over his head that he's like not usually wearing, and you could tell because like the tufts of his sideburns are kind of puffing out awkwardly around it. And he pulls like a hood up to kind of just make him not as obvious, but it doesn't really help that much because he has like a fairly familiar outline to a lot of these kids. And he's still wearing the same clothing that he was wearing earlier that day. So there's these like couple of moments where you see him like be a student that he knows and like pivot and like try to walk away from that direction, so that he doesn't run into any of the kids that might ask him, "Oh, where are you going?" in the middle of the day. He is currently like scowling and squinty, and so like very like almost yellow green eyes are kind of hidden by very beetly brows that are the same color as his sideburns, kind of like a off gold light brown color. And I mean he's dressed as a teacher. Like he's got a sash across his chest. He's got his collar up and buttoned neatly at the throat. And as he exits the grounds and starts to walk towards the like main part of the city, because they're a little bit out here, so they have area for the students to practice. This thought kind of settles, and he kind of comes back up from the hunch, and he just lets out this extremely long sigh, and he's looking in the direction of pub that he sometimes frequents that's far enough away from the school grounds that he's never going to run into any kids who are sneaking around. And then he looks back over his shoulder, and the sigh becomes more pronounced. And he says, well, Miss Locke, is that the bag you'll be traveling with?
I mean, is that what are you talking about?
When do you plan to return to the school, Miss Locke?
Don't talk to cops.
Certainly not what I asked. When are you returning? School or home?
When are you returning? She's there's a grin that's starting to like spread across her face.
I don't think you return to a place of employment after you've called your boss. Well, you heard.
Well, I wasn't planning on going back either. So where are you going?
You're just not going back? Did I miss something?
Don't talk to cops. And I think that she actually does like dodge away now.
We're gonna move with Agatha for a second here. As you dodge away, could you describe Agatha for us?
Agatha is a gangly, still kind of growing into herself. She's got, the teenage, like her like feet are maybe like a little too big for her body. But that doesn't stop her from being able to move quite effectively. She's got a head of shaggy black hair, bangs that she's very, very clearly cut herself to look bad on purpose. And as she moves, she's like popping up a hood that's on her jacket. And I think that we see her face was like in a grin as she was talking to this her favorite and trusted adult. But as she's moving away, it like sort of like her mouth down turns back into like this sullen almost a scowl.
As that happens, you guys are kind of in or beside a busy area, or like kind of again exiting the school. So there's like a courtyard where a bunch of students are milling about, and you're kind of dodging off into the crowd, like on your way out. While you were having this conversation, there was a bit of commotion happening, like in the courtyard that you're kind of maybe now just becoming aware of. And news seems to be matriculating outward from like a group. And as you are dodging off, you see a fellow student kind of, I want to say reprobate, but somewhere, a troublemaker. Definitely somebody that Agatha would be at least acquainted with. They're running off in a different direction. And as they see you, they say, Agatha, there's a protest at the port. Everybody's leaving school.
Everyone? Shit. and then like she like skids from the direction that she was going, which was also like exiting the school ground. I think maybe like in her head she predicts where she thinks do you think she would know Orion as Orion or Silas as like what sort of like intersection of names is the appropriate one here?
I think probably the school has a preferred title, but Silas has never said anything if she just calls him by his last name. Anytime that she's like tried to do like the familiar thing of like Silas, he has just simply pretended he has not heard her until he has trained the behavior out.
Okay, so you won't be.
So she knows if she calls him Silas. Yeah, she knows if she calls him Silas, he won't say like he won't even look at her.
Okay, so you're not getting like instructor Orion. You are getting exclusively like that's Orion. Yeah.
If that's what if that's what she would do as Miss Locke, that is exactly what he would respond to. He would if that's what he's done all this time, he would probably think that the instructor Orion would freak him out at that point.
Cool. So I think in her head she had been mapping like a predictive path where she thinks maybe she'd be able to continue to like follow Orion to wherever he was going post blow up. But she skids and goes, well, this is much more exciting right now. And is going to follow behind her friend and perhaps overtake him and start like not leading the charge, because she would never let herself be in a charge with other people, you see. That would be cringe.
And he said everybody's leaving, but it's clear to you that like a couple people are leaving, other people are like going into the school to disseminate this information, and some people are just chatting about it. Like it's not literally that the whole school is starting to empty or anything like that. They're saying everybody because they mean everybody who's cool.
Yes.
Silas, you are also made aware that the students are starting to talk about a protest happening at the port, and they mean, of course, the sky port, not the sea port, because the city does have both. Where are you headed? Are you going home after this, or are you going to go meet somebody? Where would Silas be? What's your next move?
I think, like with that news, he doesn't quite start traveling to the skyport. He starts traveling along the streets that are between the skyport and the rest of the city, right? Following there and just kind of listening. That takes him on the route essentially that he was headed originally, which was towards his home, where in the same kind of like block there is a building that he can sometimes drink at and eat at, and check for job postings, that kind of thing. Ask if he's but right now he's ambling. It's more of that I have to like walk off this irritation rather than have a specific place in mind. He doesn't have the he doesn't want to go sit in another building.
Yeah, you're heading kind of home, kind of to like there's like a guild hall where like guilders, people who go out and take monster jobs and all sorts of different kinds of odd jobs, more like contract work, hang out. So you're kind of heading in that direction, and you're moving along with like the flows of people. The city, it's middle of the day, the city's pretty busy. Solness, like most cities in this world, there's not really any cars. There's like some street cars that you can hop on, and here and there you'll see a person riding a chocobo or some other kinds of beasts of burden, but it's fairly pedestrian, like cobble streets for the most part, kind of thing. So you're kind of just moving with the flows of traffic as this is going on. We're gonna pause on that for a moment and then move back to Agatha. Agatha, you've just kind of are dashing out. You know that the protest is at the airport, the spaceport. Sorry, the airship port. I'm gonna say that. That's the name of it. You know it's at the airship port. What are you doing upon leaving school and gaining this information?
I think Agatha probably heading directly there. She already has like her bag with her that she had packed with the essentials, face covering so that nobody can actually identify you. Several cans of spray paint in different colors. And is starting to like get that situated. Is making sure that like the black spray paint is the first one that's reachable because everything looks better in black. And I do think as she is running, she is also, especially as she's getting closer to the airship port, she is making note of what areas are going to be like bottlenecks. Where does she see more like Empire agent police presence starting to crop up? And what areas she might need to dodge into should perhaps like her dad show up to come and collect her.
Okay. Yeah, you're kind of you're tracking all these variables. You're kind of moving from the more southern part of the city, which tends to be more commercial residential, into like the borderline between where residential is starting to hit industrial. That the spaceport or the airship port kind of helps to demarcate that border, right? Because it's something that both sides will use for various different reasons. So that to the north is going to be the Empire has a lot more patrols. Normally would have a lot more patrols because they're more concerned about that the stuff over there. But you're kind of marking different checkpoints here and there. You don't see a lot. It's not like they're out in force at the moment, but that might change as you're starting to get closer. As you head in, there is a trickle of people turning into like a steady stream, and you start to see like the back of the crowd of this protest, and people are shouting. There's not like a lot of signage or anything. This seems to be fairly spontaneous, but a couple people do have some signs ready made. And they seem to be protesting. Most of the signs are like some kind of play on like we are Solnicites, not Imperials, like some allusion to that idea. How involved like politically are like, obviously you are anti-Empire, but like how aware is Agatha? Are they like, okay, I know all the like ins and outs of everything, or are they just like, I know what I'm against and what feels?
I think that like it is certainly, she certainly at this point is more on the I know what I am against. I think that like in the past like couple of months has been like going to, and I'm putting this in quotes because like it's none of it's actually secret, we're teenagers, but like in the library we have like a group of students who've started this anti-Empire book club to try and gain like a better lay of the land.
Okay. This is somewhat of a niche thing. So why don't you go ahead and just make me a straight intelligence check. It's not super hard. Okay, 18. Yeah, easy. You so you're kind of guessing, but you know that today was the day that they were going to at all points of entry, rather. They're no longer accepting the like Solnus issued passports. Everybody is now required to have an Imperial passport. You have to go to an office to get an Imperial passport if you want to like travel by airship or by ship kind of thing. So that seems to be what the protest is about at the moment. People are basically saying, like, fuck that. I don't want to keep using the passport. Like, I'm not an imperial citizen, kind of thing. That's the vibe that's happening.
Oh yeah, perfect. No,
While
Agatha's
you-
eating the shit.
Yeah. While you are kind of moving into the mass, we're going to shift gears slightly and move over to Zed at the moment. Zale. Zale, you find yourself on a kind of a nice grassy knoll that overlooks the ocean nearby. It's very peaceful. There's like a nice breeze flowing. It's a bright sunny day. Like white puffy clouds are in the sky, and you can see across the bay, like most of the city. But as the camera kind of moves down from like the view to realize where you're at, you are at a cemetery. There's a bunch of like obvious like stone plinths marking various different names, dates, etc. And this section is all pristine in a way that you know that these are all the new burials, and there's a lot of them. Like as we kind of pan out a little bit. What are you doing?
So Zale is like mid speaking. I think he says I know it's not the perfect way to be grieving, and he like reaches out and touches a plinth that has a bunch of the Keaton families, like people that they've lost in the war, which is most of them. He's kind of crouched. He's crouched in that kind of way that is quite elegant in that he doesn't want to kneel to get any like dirt on his pants, which are quite like very well made. All of his clothes are like Solness cuts. They're very like but a little bit older. They're not new. It's like he's taken them somewhere and brought them back, but he still kept them very well. He looks quite bulky, like quite broad, because he's wearing a heavy traveler's cloak that has a hood that he doesn't have up, and a shock of like red hair pulled back in quite a long ponytail. It's grown out over the past couple of months. And he continues and says, I don't know how much longer I'll be able to visit. And he pulls out not an actual flower, but one weaved of thread and yarn to put on top of the plinth. And like eagle-eyed observers will note that he's not really paying any attention to the plinth other than like touching it occasionally and putting this flower on it. His eyes are, you said across the bay is where the airship and the city is, right? Or am I crazy?
You're looking out across the bay. The city's like immediately to your right. And then you're kind of on the northern side, but closer to the airship port. So you can kind of see down if you look where the protest is building.
He's always watching, not with sharp eyes, but with eyes that are like just not present in what he's doing. And as he kind of stands up and dusts off the dirt that he didn't let get on his clothes, his cloak kind of falls. There's a bunch of like quite thin cords that are wrapped around his wrist, and he's playing with the dangling ends of them. As he sighs, there's a pistol on his hip, but it's like, if anybody that's used a pistol can see that this is not a pistol that gets used very often. It's like maybe been fired 10 times maximum. He looks down towards the protest. Do I have something that I am on my way to do today?
So you're doing this, and then you were supposed to be going down to Meetings Generous, like a lunch dinner with some of the other socialite types. But could you go ahead and make me a perception check?
I can make so many perception checks that will
Sure.
fail. Oh, 17, don't worry about it. I'm actually impossible. It's impossible for me to roll bad.
I just assumed you were good at this for some reason.
Mm-mm. Nope,
Okay.
-1. I don't take wisdom on any characters ever.
That's fine. That's fine. So there's another reason why you come to this spot besides just the graveyard. You note that the set of buildings that you're particularly interested in, they're fairly close to the spaceport, or I'm going to do this so many times, the airship port.
Mhm.
And you can tell that security is being pulled away from that, particularly the backside where you're seeing, over towards the front ends where like the protest isn't at, but could start to build over towards.
Zale does the like mental calculations of like, how long have I been here staring at this building? Am I bored? Is this the right time? Is it the right time because I'm bored? But he processes it all like systematically while he's speaking to this gravestone. And then upon standing up and twirling the kind of thin cords around his fingers, he sighs heavily and will, I suppose, head to wherever he's meant to meet with the other parts of his contingent, which is to say Roscoe. I don't know if we have other allies here, but mainly Roscoe.
Yeah. You head off. We'll move over to Roscoe. The roles we're embellishing. As we move over to Roscoe, the there's like a sudden like camera fade out, fade in to just like a one light that's kind of just like very not bright, but it's all dark except for this one spotlight basically that's like shining down on Roscoe. We see your head kind of like looking down, maybe like a roll of the shoulders here. Describe what your character is doing in this moment.
In this moment, you see a very not super young, but like early 30s man with like a coiffed back head of red hair that somehow, despite the ferocity of the motion and the action and athleticism, has still managed to maintain its exact shape, like through the sweat, kind of like coming down the brow. Face is flushed. There's a bit of a bruise forming around the eye, but currently shirtless, arms up, like getting ready to move in at the start of, I think is probably like the 7th round of this match.
As we can kind of start to understand what's happening a little bit better, like the roar of the crowd starts to filter through as like sound. The scene seems to come alive more in this moment, and we just hear the bell. Ding. Go ahead and describe what Roscoe's doing.
So Roscoe currently, as soon as the bell hits, immediately dashes in. Predicts a quick kind of like blind jab that he slips around, knowing that a cross is about to follow soon after that. Manages to get a guard up and then slip under that, even bringing a very quick like uppercut up and knocking the absolute shit out of a man for some reason wants to call himself Diesel. But you know,
we get like
rocks him
a nice low shot of this like uppercut. And as the bobbing and weaving continues, you get like the last punch in. This guy's going down, and we see you like in the same exact pose, but like there's just like a quick instant cut where you're now in a completely different spot, but with that same pose. What are you doing?
In the same pose, like I just threw an uppercut. I look over at the gathered group of soldiers / military people that are off duty in this like tent or whatever room that we're in. As I'm like in the exact kind of like stance, and then I look back over at the projector screen that we have procured that is showing a replay of specifically my 6th championship match. But you see his feet, the gap there, it was too wide, so it was easy for me to slip under the guard there.
One of the grunts is like, excuse me, technical officer, could you show me like how would, and he kind of like gets up and he's like trying to ask like for help, so he like putting his mitts up. There's like half of them are like interested in the story, what's happening. The other half were just like bored, like smoking. Clearly, you're in like a break room, but it's not really a break room. It's more of like a covered awning that's like out back, what seems to be like a garage, like the motor pool kind of area. And like these people are all like having a smoke break kind of thing, and you happen to be there.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Well, first, widen your fucking feet, dude. Like, starts to go about correcting his stance.
What does Roscoe look like now?
From when he looked in the projection, he's gained about 10 years, kind of pushing middle 40s now. The hair remains as immaculate as ever. Practically unchanged, though now there is a well-maintained like chin strap to goatee that kind of comes out to like an inverse point of the way the hair coils back. Is wearing like a military uniform, but more so just the vest that opens to kind of like a slutty V that just has the full chest hair in view. Large kind of like armored pauldrons that have these wafts of like kind of puffy sleeve material that goes into what looks like it could be like some type of mechanical prosthetic or just a really well made like gauntlet, but both of his arms are like armored. And specifically on the right armored hand, it looks like it was created in such a way that each of his championship rings are visible.
It's also, I'll say this, the climate here is like, it's the tropics. It's humid. How sweaty is Roscoe?
Oh, there's a reason the vest is open.
Okay, yeah. Feel like some sweat happening. This motor pool break room probably doesn't smell that good for a variety of different reasons. You do know that you're supposed to meet Zale at the moment in a little bit, just to, your regular kind of check-in. And you're kind of like keeping an eye on the clock. You've probably got like 50 minutes, but it's not that far. As this is happening, you do see an officer walk in. All of the other grunts like kind of stand up real quick, turn over to see what they want. They've kind of like opened the door quite quickly. He kind of looks over what's happening, and he just says, I need all of you, and you too as well, to come with me. We need extra security.
Roscoe looks over at the guy. Okay, where?
We're heading to the airship port. Some trouble with the locals, it seems. Get riot gear.
At the command to get riot gear, Roscoe simply just does like the the Henry Cavill arm reload, and is kind of just standing there waiting for the rest of the group to get ready.
The officer kind of looks at you, looks at your rank, just shakes his head. And he says, Roscoe, your presence probably isn't overly necessary. We don't want to tarnish your image. It's better to you can, as you were. We're not intending to kill these people.
One, I feel like that's a bit far. I was stretching. Two, my presence is always necessary. Maybe not required, but for this particular instance, but that feels insulting.
Very well. Just
Otherwise, just gonna leave me in a tent by myself.
I'm sure you have duties to attend to.
I think I was sent here for this. I'm just gonna follow you.
Very well. The others are like getting ready, like they're having to like go to a separate room to like armor, like getting shields. They've got like their helmets and armor on, but they're like swapping out like grabbing truncheons and stuff like that, batons and whatnot. And they're all getting ready. Meanwhile, you're still there, like, the sweat. Before too long, you start to move out. How would you signal to Zed/Sale that you may not make their meeting?
I don't know if there is a way that they particularly discussed for that. Do they have, like, I guess, would they have a way to communicate?
It's up to you. You definitely could, like, just like you have a radio, you can find a way to radio him, but it could be as simple as like, if you're leaving your station, you like change a sign or like prop something up to just like to mark that like you're out and you're busy. If you would remember that.
I think Roscoe does carry like a radio. I think actually the radio is probably a disguised one of the championship rings. Because who's going to touch those? Absolutely nobody. And so we'll just like bring like his hand up, like he's trying to like kind of, brush out the beard, and we'll just say, "Going for a walk."
It like plays somewhere from within Zale's like many pockets. The extent to which Zale did not think a radio was ever going to get used. It plays, and he like ducks from wherever he's walking into like a little dark corner to start trying to look for this radio.
You're
And then he's like, No, it's fine. Roscoe is here because there's things that he does well. And I'm here because there's problems that I fix well. And like Zale completely gives up on Roscoe immediately. Like immediately gives up on Roscoe's involvement in what Zale needs to do. As I'm looking down at the kind of airship port as I'm heading in that direction, can I see what's this fucking airship called? Can I see if the Priscillium is docked somewhere?
It is docked kind of on the far end, a little bit away from where the protest is happening, more towards the Gestalt Corporation facilities.
Zale looks hates on a deep level how much further this will take him to walk now. And after finally fishing out his radio, which is like just probably a little fidget cube type looking thing that he doesn't really care enough to have learned how to use, he presses a few buttons and then hears it crackle and says, "Okay, I'm going to find the reliable one." And then looks at the radio, considers it to only possibly be a liability from this point forward, and just crushes it under his foot.
Shortly
Wait,
after
like, I'm
crushing
not
it-
dealing with this anymore.
Shortly after crushing it, too, it turns out to be no one. Rossdale will respond back in kind. I'll be at the security checkpoint. To the reliable one. Comment.
Okay.
So you know where. So you
Yeah,
know where he's at.
Great, yeah, Zale doesn't hear that, so that's fine. We're functional as a espionage team, I think, is what we've learned. But yeah, Zale just goes, okay, Roscoe's been pulled into something. I need allies at least, and I know some names, so I'm going to go to the Brazilium and see if I can find help there.
Yes, let's move over to our final party member. Sorry, just got a message.
It isn't urgent.
Okay, yeah. So we kind of move over towards the where all these airships are. There's like one coming in to land right now. The way that this looks is that it's sort of like an airport, but not exactly the same. But it has this sort of radial nature to it. So there's like a central hub, and with a bunch of spokes coming off of it. That are like kind of long and extended, not unlike a dock as well. And along each of these spokes, various different sized airships are kind of like docked with the like main vessel at the bottom, carrying whatever, and then the the more balloon part above that is kind of hanging over each of these spokes. So we're kind of like at the end of one of these smaller, mid-size, you would say, ship that does mostly cargo, those kinds of things. Asta, what would you be up to at the moment?
If we are docked and there's cargo being loaded or unloaded, probably just running through the list of supplies we need to that I need to go purchase later for the captain to restock on repair materials and other things that I have usually been tasked with buying while we are in port.
As you're doing this, you're kind of, like making some lists, checking over some things. There's a few other people kind of milling about in this cargo area. Stuff's being unloaded at the moment. The captain of this ship walks in. She's like dressed in leathers, kind of got some belt on at the moment, but she's kind of shrugging those off. And she's just going to call out to everybody. She just says, "Everybody, take the day. They're closing the port. I recommend you get out while you can. Seems like there's trouble at the gates. If you want to use your shore leave, I suggest you go now before you get stuck here."
Another time.
You know how it is.
I've already delayed.
You let me worry about delays. I mean, we have fuel. We're going to get where we need to get.
Okay.
The loaders are all leaving. There's nothing we can do.
Fair enough. You want me to stay here or?
Nah, it's fine. I'm gonna lock everything down and then try to head out before things get too messy. They said there's a back gate if you can't make it through the front, but just watch out. I don't know where people are going to be. Keep your passport on you. I mean, you know the drill.
Yeah. All right. Did I lock up? Yes. All of my tinkering should be sealed with regular locks, magical locks, so nothing should be able to be misused if I'm not on the ship. So that should be okay. I guess here's what I have so far for whenever we do get people back to load and unload stuff. And I gave her my list of things that I was thinking we would want to buy just to have her sign off on it.
Okay, she kind of looks over it, scribbles off. Make sure you keep a weapon with you. I don't know. Occupied cities.
No, I do.
All right, stay safe. And they kind
You
of
as
they will kind of hand you a small pouch full of gil, kind of like your regular pay. A little early, but
Much obliged.
As you are leaving, could you go ahead and describe Asta for us?
Yeah. The woman in her what did I say yesterday?
33.
33. With kind of dark purple hair, about bob length. I've actually got the length of my hair right now. Haha. Dark purple hair. A really long scar that goes across the front of her face, quite wide. Covered in burn marks and things like that on her hands, in just a simple gray shirt, brown jacket, a little green amulet at the neck, but otherwise very stocky, sturdy woman, clearly who works hard with her hands. Gray eyes too, so not the most usual color, especially with the hair, but other than that, clearly just a laborer on an airship.
As you head out, you can kind of see the hubbub that is occurring at the front gate of the port. You think you could probably slip through still. It seems like people are exiting, but it is looking a little rough, and you do have a ways to go. You can also see the gate that your captain had pointed out. It's kind of like a back gate, like a very small checkpoint. Generally would only be used in emergency situations, but it seems like they're letting a couple people in and out. Where are you going? And this is a question for the three of you. Where were you planning to meet exactly?
Assuming the three of us means those of us that are doing
Yes.
a great job at this mission right now. Zale was planning to meet Roscoe. I do not think Zale has standing plans to meet Asta.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I misunderstood.
I think-
Maybe a comment.
I think we have met because I made contact and asked us how I meant to get messages back to the Resistance. But Zale doesn't show
I'm at my
up
day job.
to see
Right.
Asta.
Yeah.
They don't have standing plans. Zale is beelining towards the Brazilian to try and meet Asta there.
Okay. Well, then let me ask that. How do you plan on getting out of the port?
I am a pretty strong woman, but I don't think that I feel like fighting with locals to try to get out the front gate. So I will probably make a slow exit, just kind of, do a one last once over of the ship, make sure everything looks kosher there before I start casually meandering my way towards the back gate.
Okay. Zale, how are you planning on getting in? Because there is there's a big hubbub at the front, and pushing through the crowd, etc., would be a struggle for anybody.
I think if Zale knows there's a back area, he's going to head that way and try and talk his way in through the back gate.
Okay.
To not have to deal with those people, which is why he was so annoyed at how far he had to go now.
Right. Okay.
It's this is so much further.
I think we cut to Zale, why don't you go ahead and make me a persuasion check? We kind of cut to a little bit later, Asta, you've kind of walked off of this kind of grass mixed with tarmac, and are like almost at the gate when Zale is like talking to this guard.
Zale's pitch is that he has a lover on one of the ships that he's gonna just like go and see if she got shore leave, basically. Like stuff's going bad. He's like, hey, maybe I can get like, you know, a fun time and I can go out drinking. And if I get the vibe that greasing the palm of this person might let me meet this lover easier, I have guilt to spare.
Okay, go ahead and make a pursuit check. I'll give you advantage for bribing, being willing to bribe this man.
I will take the 23.
Okay, no need to spend the currency. You start check. There's just like two guards here. They're just Imperial soldiers, outfitted quite normally. They each have like rifles that they're kind of like just openly carrying, swords at their side, kind of decked out in like. It is a breastplate, but it kind of has a very sleek design, and they're all painted like black, and they have white accents on their clothing. He kind of says, "Just go, just be quick. You don't want to get stuck in there."
Of course, I'll come out this way if I find her.
You see Asa pretty much immediately, because Asa, you're watching Zale fast talk his way in while everybody else is trying to get out.
I'm like 6 foot, so and I'm also in boots, so I'm like an extra 2 inches just from thick soled boots. I'm just like, okay.
Zale doesn't see Asta straight away because his perception is very bad. But eventually notices the tall woman and has like 2 or 3 conflicting thoughts. The first of which, this is good for the mission. The second of which, like, it speeds things up. And the third of which is he's going to have to explain to this guard that he just talked into the fact that he was meeting a lover, that this is his lover, and that's not okay. Like, there's a real pride moment where he's not Zale, but he's like in the Zed headspace and he's like, I don't like this. This is real bad for the rep. But he like walks over to Asta like with all the confidence of a random Solnian noble, and leans, I guess, slightly upwards because she's a bit taller than him, and quite close to her ear says, "I'm in need of some quite urgent help with my mission. Also, the guard's going to think that we're going to sleep together."
All right. I will just kind of, in one motion as you start talking, just kind of swing an arm to hook through yours and turn you around the other way to go towards the other way.
You feel immediately that while Zale looks quite broad with this cloak, he's quite slight and lithe underneath it. And you feel hooking your arm through his, like, so many random, like, pockets filled with, like, knickknacks and tools and stuff that, like, your arm impacts with. But he quickly...
God.
Okay.
There's this sort of dandy with their mechanic partner scene happening. As the two of you walk out, the guard like looks over, looks at Zale, like nods.
Zale nods back, and but quite quickly we'll be like, okay, I do need to deal with this mission, so we'll find somewhere like close by, but quiet enough to run Asta over the fact that he thinks that today might be the best chance they've got to get into these like factory buildings.
Go ahead and make me a stealth check just to kind of search out for a good spot, because normally this would be a very deserted area, but there are like a number of crew members walking through trying to get to.
Should I do that as well?
They're a little bit lost, so they're trying to get to the more inhabited parts of the city. So unfortunately. You kind of duck into an alley. It would maybe be less or more conspicuous than it normally is. But you feel like you can at least talk and nobody's going to overhear.
They're pulling they're pulling soldiers. Actually, there's no way that Zale is talking to Zale anymore. He says, they're pulling soldiers from the factories to deal with whatever this protest is. Roscoe got caught up in something where he has to do his job. So I need some help to get to that factory and find out what's in there.
Okay. I've been given shore leave by my captain, so I'm free to do whatever.
Do you have thoughts on how to get there? You
Would
know the
this
port
be-
better than I do.
Yeah, would this be a place that we frequently port at, Andrew?
Like Solness. Yes, it is a major trade hub, major stopover.
Okay.
So you've
Then-
definitely been here many times.
Yeah, and as someone who does a lot of the purchasing for repair stuff, I would probably absolutely know where I do all the, give me a better deal over here at that factory or this factory. So yeah,
Yeah.
I will say that, yeah, I believe I know a few possible routes and palms we can grease if needed. Should be pretty easy.
Great. All right. Well, I mean, it's been 2 months, so this is what it's been building towards, I guess. And he you would think that he'd change anything about how he's set up to start to actually do the mission, but he just like kind of steps away and reforms like the Zale personality, who you haven't really interacted with very much.
Mhm.
It's like, okay, well, let's do it. And he like offers you his arm again.
No.
Okay.
He shrugs.
Go ahead and since Ass is kind of leading this, I'll say if you would like to make me probably an investigation check. You're trying to because you know that this particular facility, it's not something you would ever go into yourself. It's like it research dedicated, but there's like a number of factories and other facilities nearby, and you're trying to think of basically like, okay, I think that there's like an adjacent wall here we could use to like sneak over without it being too obvious. Yeah, if you want to help, that's fine.
Yeah, I note where the patrols looked thinner to give you advantage, which I feel like you're going to crit now.
No, but two better.
Still better.
Pretty good. So the two of you kind of are making your way through. There's this is like grungy industrial Midgar vibes. There's like, like big pipes everywhere and like, plumes of random steam rising up. It is sweaty, but so you kind of go into like one of these factories. You're like, oh, I want to make, talking about, I'm looking to purchase this. I wanted to like look at your facility, etc. And they're like, oh yeah, whatever, sure. Like we have other things to worry about, kind of thing. So you kind of like move over from one steel walkway, gangplank, and you're able to kind of hop this fence and then drop down into the Gestalt Corporation facility without being seen, because there's like, you're like a corner spot, etc. So you're kind of in where it's supposed to be. This is like a big faceless, windowless building. This is like the like a space center style, like just square monolith thing. But there are a bunch of doors that you can peek into, and there's a lot of like fire escapes on the back end. There are some people milling about, but they're not really paying attention. Just that you can see as you start to walk about. What are you guys doing?
I think Zale is like, well, we're here. We're just gonna see what this is all about. And he looks at Asta with.
I will say you kind of know Roscoe's essentially been assigned as part of the guard here, and that's what they're pulling from to go to the protest. So So from your investigations, you know that whatever you're looking for is in the basement.
Okay. Zale, knowing that Roscoe was actually assigned here, will like mention to Asta and say, if you have a radio of some kind, Roscoe's on this frequency. If you want to tell him that we're in the factory, that he's meant to be here to help us infiltrate by being a guard, maybe more snappy, less snappy. I don't know how Roscoe reacts to any of these things, but we need to make it to the basement.
Yeah, I'll. I assume I have a radio of some kind since I
Yeah,
work on a large airship.
yeah, for sure.
I'll tune into that frequency and say, Roscoe, you fuck. Get over here.
Roscoe, you
We're going
have
in now.
moved. You have moved, and we're kind of shifting back into the protest scene. It's been a little bit. Scenes are building. We see like anime style. Agatha is like more detailed than the crowd to make it obvious to the people watching that like who is there and where is there. But we also see Roscoe. You're kind of like slightly behind a little bit, like on a little bit of a platform. You can see a bunch of soldiers. They've got like their riot gear shields up, are kind of like creating a line, trying to keep people from pressing too much into the port. By this point in time, like any of the workers that have gotten out have gotten out. Anybody who's still there, they're stuck because like the protesters have formed like a between the protesters and the soldiers, there's like a barrier around this front entrance. People are like yelling. It's not gotten violent or anything. There's like a definitive gap between the protesters and these soldiers turned like riot enforcement. But even Roscoe, even you can tell like things are getting a little dicey. This is like the moments before at the bar where like the two people are kind of like squaring up. Nobody's thrown a punch yet, but everybody's waiting for the guy to reach for the bottle. When you hear like this crackly radio.
Roscoe immediately brings hand up, like up to his face to kind of hear better. Hear something about fuck.
Yeah, you. We're going now. Get over here. I give him the coordinates of the factory.
Who even is this?
With Zale.
What's his middle name?
Zed?
Okay, that's actually a good answer. Yeah. All right, I'll try to step away.
Move quickly,
Zale
please.
overheard that conversation.
There's a like a nearby captain who's like, Roscoe, pay attention. And he's like, why don't you give the crowd a demonstration, see if you can't get them to back off.
I have a question.
Yes, Agatha.
You've given us sort of like the audience perspective very clearly. Roscoe and Agatha are in higher resolution.
Yes.
Is there a meta way in which Agatha can engage with this and see Roscoe in particular?
So yes, you can clearly see there's like the because they're slightly raised. There's like the line of soldiers. Like the crowd is sort of like milling about. It's not like in crowd crush situation yet. They're like milling about, but there's a definite like group that is spread out and quite large. There's probably like at least a few thousand people here, potentially more, because you're not sure where the crowd ends behind you now that you got here earlier. You can see kind of like a little bit above the line of soldiers. There's a couple more, you assume, important types. One of them is Roscoe, so you can see like the metallic Magitech arms kind of dress a little bit differently than the others. But there's an officer who seems to be like arguing with him / giving him orders that if you want to interrupt them somehow,
Yeah.
feel free.
I'm not going to interrupt in particular. Or, well, I think I am. Agatha, I'm not going up there. But Agatha, sees this, like, points and begins shouting, "Quit your job!" Which is my favorite protest chant.
Roscoe, you hear as you're being told, like, basically, like, scare them. You just hear a shout, and then it's caught up by the crowd. People just yelling to quit your job.
They really don't like you. I say to the officer.
Well, does it really matter now, does it?
He said that like in a way that it's clearly bothering you. Fine, I'll do something. You stay here, I guess.
He turns back to pose menacingly in a sort of Gestapo-esque fashion.
I think Roscoe, being that like everyone is like booing or saying some type of heckling thing, tensions are rising. He treats this however how he's always treated a negative attention, and that he partially takes it in, feeds on it, pounces it back as he takes a step kind of like a little bit past some of the soldiers and is kind of doing the thing of like upping to make sure he's like getting all the booing, all the jeering, like a complete pro wrestler heel, like listening.
I would just like to point out that in the same spirit of the cinematic, we have this
Yes.
overhead view, and it's the protest and like the bulk of the protest, and then like the fringes where you've got people kind of gathering up, and then you've got on this, sometimes parallel, sometimes perpendicular, trying to veer away, but then still finding himself kind of following along the streets that are circling this protest. You see Silas still stalking, still a little hunched over, has unbuttoned the collar, it's hot, no longer has unbuttoned the sleeves, and so it's kind of pulling away from that buttoned up professor look. Looks up at this quit your job chant that's just very faintly trickling through, like you just hear it kind of hitting off a couple of the alleys, and just like the deepest sigh, and says, well, that's done at least. And angles just a little bit closer, but just kind of stops. Doesn't quite keep making that full journey out.
Right. Yeah, and you're kind of like, try as you might, you are slowly kind of getting, whether by subconscious or just the nature of the crowd, slowly getting pushed closer and closer towards the happenings that are going on. But Roscoe, what are you doing?
After the jeering and the chanting, Ross, is there like, I feel like this would be easy enough to get here in this situation. Would have, while he had paced up to the front and kind of like held to his side, we'll have like a megaphone.
You could easily
But
grab
he'll-
one. Yeah, from like
That
some
will-
sergeant who's like shouting things like, please disperse.
Yes, yank it out of his hand. And bring it in front of his face. Now look, I have heard bad crowds before. And somehow, this is weaker than some of the shit I heard in the backwaters of Odelheim.
Oink, oink, piggy, piggy!
And you let the animals in as well. Control the livestock. Anyway,
The officer's like, are you trying to egg them on? I told you to scare them. He didn't say that, but like there's just a look on his face like, what?
there's one thing I know the look of. It's people looking for a fight. Now, I'm not saying that your strengths don't lie in screaming, But I'm certainly saying it's not in that. Now you, and I'll point to some random person.
Some guy who's like,
I don't know you. But I bet you know me. And if you don't, I'll give you a hint. I'm at least 5 of you. 7 of you. Charitably 4 of you.
Make an intimidation check.
That's
Does Roscoe? Did you have any nicknames as a boxer in particular?
I think it was just Rockin' Roscoe.
Okay. Were there any fights that you lost, particularly like as you got towards the end of your career, like famously?
I think specifically there was like a rematch bout with that Diesel character that he lost.
I think there's just a there's a shout. Somebody recognizes you and puts this together quickly, and there's just a shout that goes out that is like taken up by the crowd quite quickly, and it's just Diesel rocks Roscoe round 3. Diesel rocks Roscoe round 3. There's like the headline for that fight. That was like everywhere the day after.
All right, what are the logistics of Roscoe fighting this entire crowd?
Pretty bad. But if you want to punch like some guys, super easy. It's here's the thing, like there's not a lot of armed people in this crowd. So if you want to like just beat people up, you're going to get tackled, but then like all of the other guys behind you are going to step in.
I think Roscoe will take that. We'll think about in a very almost like Homelander the boys what I want to do versus what is actually happening, and doesn't go and try to fight an entire crowd. But will that was on the sheet. But we kind of talked over the feature.
Yeah.
I think we'll take an arm and kind of like hold it up in the air, and then like he's bringing it back down as like the charging mechanism. The sleeve on its arm burns away as the Magitech comes alive, and like fire arcs up his arm in like a big burst as he'll use like a trance stock. And
definitely like some people begin to back up as like just this gouts of flame rise up from your arm. Have you completely forgotten about Asta and Zale at this point?
No, actually.
Okay.
He would finish seeing if some people back up at doing that. But all that to say, back the fuck up and yell louder.
Okay. All of the soldiers would kind of take a step forward at that, just to kind of like close the gap to try to get everybody to take a step back. I'm just gonna make a couple rolls.
I'm gonna make some rolls for the snipers that have been positioned near here for when Roscoe goes rogue.
Well, okay. All right. These people are angry. They're not fight a guy with flaming fists angry yet. So when the soldiers like step forward in perfect unison with like a resounding like, there is like a involuntary even step back, and the crowd does begin to go from like intermingling to feeling a little bit more crushed. Asta, not sorry, Asta, Agatha. That is gonna fuck me later. I know it is. Agatha, you go from like having some personal space to having not a lot of personal space.
And hey, we do what we must. No, I think now it's gonna fuck me up. No, this is my character. Agatha, as I think, like, as she is like starting to get squashed more in, is going to she is one person. She does not quite get the logistics of how crowds move in relation to her. She is going to try to shove back forward. But Kristen, knowing that's not how that works.
Yeah, so you're kind of shoving, just getting just shoving somebody into somebody else, not finding a lot of purchase room here for the moment. Silas, you hear something slightly different sounding from the chanting, just like a bit of a low rumble coming kind of in a slightly different direction, not exactly towards the crowd, slightly more to the east of where you are. But it kind of stops after a moment. Charlie, am I muted?
No.
Okay.
Charlie's muted.
Oh, Charlie, you're muted.
Charlie, you're muted.
Okay. Am I now no longer muted?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. So I hear it's coming from the other direction, like not where the protest is happening.
I wouldn't say other direction, but slightly different direction.
Yeah. Silas is looking for any reason to not find himself a part of that crowd. Like as he walks, it's the distracted walking, and so he kind of veers a little bit away, and see him shift and lean his head back, take a peek down the appropriate alley.
Okay. You start to make your way over there. Roscoe, how are you extracting yourself from your current situation? Now, somewhat the focal point of the crowd's ire.
After doing that and heading back over to the officer that had told me to go and try to get the crowd to push back. There, they pushed back.
Shakes his head.
Kind of drop the megaphone.
He picks it up. And he's going to
Now-
start shouting some orders out to the crowd.
And I'll say to him, and now that they hate me more than you, I'm going to go back to my original post. De-escalate.
Fine. You're dismissed.
I dismissed myself.
He just shakes his head. Technical officers.
You will move on towards where he was told to rendezvous after that.
Okay. You start to make your way there. Asa and Zale, you both feel a rumbling as well, although it is closer to where you are and slightly beneath you, as the ground gives a shake and then stops. This is not a seismically active area.
Don't know that I love that.
Zale is thinking desperately through the history that he learned about Solness and rumblings. And you said it's not a seismically active area.
Not particularly.
And he's like, well, I think we're going to find something underground that is bad. I don't think it's going to be good. Can I make an Arcana check to see if there's to just get a vibe on the magic in the area? I know that that's not really a thing that Arcana necessarily does.
Sure, you can attempt it.
terrible.
Yeah, there's a lot of like Magitech off gassing happening around this facility. They're definitely doing stuff with Aetherite, etc. So there's like a bit of a glow, you know, like a greenish pale gas that kind of like drifts and then settles before being taken up by the wind, and that's just kind of present.
So Zale is like, as we're kind of sneaking down as much as we can towards the basement, Zale is like outlining to Asta what we should do in each of like a multitude of situations. So he's like, if it's a Magitech thing, we should try and get inside it. If it's some kind of beast, we should run. If it's some kind of like spirit or an Esper, we will die. If it's he's just lining through like all of the different ways to deal with each contingency.
Roscoe, you very quickly, because when you're just like flat out running, you're much, you know, you get away from the crowd, you start to look it over. You're able to like roundabout and find them. The two of you see a very sweaty Roscoe walk up, like slowing to from a run to a jog to like a casual walk.
Would Roscoe and I have met before?
Probably not.
Probably not, no.
He's very clearly wearing a uniform.
I think as we see Roscoe walking over at Zale, who knows you haven't met before, and you just called him a fuck. Like kind of steps forward and goes, just so I know for my own budgeting, do I have to pay you a celebrity appearance fee for you to show up to this?
Are you gonna ask for an autograph?
Not today.
Then you're fine.
Great.
And who's
Something
tall?
wrong.
Gristle and Gristle. Yeah.
This is the reliable one.
I'm Asta. You must be Roscoe.
I am. I see that you know my name.
Sorry. Just randomly misclicked. My notepad. I just wasted 19 real quick. Zale says, okay. Introductions aside, we need to be in the basement. Something's rumbling. I've revised our plan now that Roscoe is here. Whatever it is, if we can get inside it, because it's Magitech, we do that. Otherwise, we punch it to death.
Works for me.
Great.
I don't know what you're talking about, but fine.
So the three of you begin to move into the facility. We're going to cut back to Silas. Silas, the rumbling has stopped. You can move over this alleyway. You think it's coming from this big building, or it had come from this big building now. It's a little bit down from where the protests are happening. There's like a couple, like the very tail end of the crowd is nearby. And there's a big sign on the front of the building that says Gestalt Corporation Research Division. Charlie.
Is this? I'm sorry. I had
Sorry.
trouble tracking that this wasn't there. That this wasn't still their scene.
No.
Okay.
Yeah, sorry. We
Okay.
cut away to Silas.
Okay.
You've moved down this alley towards the source of the tremor.
Yeah.
And seen this building.
Okay. Okay. So it's. I don't see them. I'm just following the shape.
They're somewhere. This is a large facility. But you're kind of out in front. You can see that even despite the riot, there are some few soldiers posted here.
All right. And there's soldiers, but nobody else. It's just like monitors, like people who are looking.
There's people who have kind of like are making their way towards the protests, and you can see like the back end of the protest crowd, but there's not a lot of people right here. And this is like across from like some shops and other things. It's like it's in the open. It's not like a hidden place or anything like that. There's a couple of people who are kind of like looking around, looking at the building, like probably also felt the tremor, but kind of just move on with their day.
Like Silas is gonna like sidle over and is looking specifically not at the civilians who have kind of just walked away from what is kind of unsettling, because Silas has lived here a long time and also knows it's not a particularly seismically active area. And it seems to be coming more from here because he was just walking from that area and didn't feel any tremors. So he is eyeballing the soldiers to see if they're reacting to this tremor. And as he does, he's just kind of like walking along on the storefront side and taking a glance just to the side of the building. Just really trying to figure out if there's like a big vehicle. Like he's looking for like an enormous vehicle moving, something
Yeah.
shipping, right? Like
Make an insight check for me as you're like watching the guards and trying to figure this out a little bit. Nice. There's two things that you notice about them. One, they don't seem that concerned. Two, these are more elite soldiers than like your just like random grunts. You're not overly familiar with like rank structure, units, etc. within the Imperial Army, but you can just tell based off like stance, like the way that they hold themselves. These people are more experienced, that they know what they're doing a little bit more than like some guy that they just have patrolling the street, or like, you know, a random frontline grunt. They're not like outfitted in a way that is very obviously different unless you know what you're looking for. They do have some Magitech arms, not like Roscoe's, but like their rifles and swords have been enhanced. So these are definitely like a slight cut above the chaff, as it were.
I think Silas is gonna like ID the store nearest here, like the little shop that seems that it's, you know, would have a lot of in and out traffic, that still has the shopkeeper manning the deck, that hasn't closed with the protest going on. And it's just gonna kind of pop open that door, lean, like take 2 steps in, not even go all the way to the counter, and just say quietly to whoever runs the place, "Do you feel that tremor out there?"
So you say, "Oh, yes, it's from the Gestalt building across the way. It happens every so often. Something about that research, I think. It was quite strong. Normally, you can only just barely notice it."
Huh. Do you know what they do over there?
I think it's very secretive. I don't know. It's an Imperial corporation. They should have set up shop shortly after the occupation. They moved a bunch of heavy equipment in, and then, you know, I think before it was some kind of like an airship part manufacturer. They didn't build the building; it was already there.
Got it. Thanks. By the way, it's getting a little heated out there. Do you have anything to board up your windows in case it spills over?
Kind of look over. It starts to get a little closer. I'm gonna put the shutters down. They mean like the metal rollers.
Yeah. It's already a bit close. I might do that sooner rather than later. And he is going to.
Would you pastry 20 gil? I have some cinnamon salted. And he kind of holds it up. It's warm.
Silas like just kind of like looks at him for a moment. Doesn't quite smile, but like the area around his beard, like the corner of his mouth. And as we notice, like as we kind of like focus in on like the smile and the like texture of his facial hair and all that, it's just such a direct contrast from Roscoe, who is just so like the perfect every hair in place. This is like that border between straight and curly that is never tame, no matter what you do, and doesn't do curls nicely, doesn't do straight nicely, so it always just looks like he has not combed anything. And he'll kind of look at the the selection, and he takes the pastry that is like the lowest in supply, like the thing that has been clearly been picked over and replaced and picked over and replaced, and says, I'll take whatever that is.
He nods and I'll package it up and hand it to you.
With pastry in hand, Silas will step back out and kind of wander over to the next shop, kind of like he's thinking about going in, but then just with his eye on like the corner of the building, so he can watch the alley that it opens up into, and the front with the soldiers themselves. Just starts eating his pastry, and then every so often is like kind of muttering one of the chants that he hears, like in a. It's not like I'm joining in with a chant. It's just kind of like that, contemplating the words and a little bit contemptuous, like just like a little bit. All these kids yelling about things they don't understand, kind of mannerism.
As you kind of like mouth one of the chants a little bit, we do like a hard cut to Agatha yelling this chant. But
Which one do you want, bud? I got dozens.
Whichever one you want. We were panning out as this is happening, and something that Agatha you can't. You probably could see. What's your wisdom or what's your perception? I mean, plus three. Okay.
Sorry.
You probably could see if you were looking in the right direction, but the crowd is focused forward, and what they don't notice is, or at least not all of them, off to the side. The positioning of several of these Magitech armors, kind of on the other side of the gate in the port, but or the fence rather, but a fence is not really much of an obstacle to these things. They are bipedal, squat, round, tank-like constructions that are meant to be used as like extreme shock troops, and bulldoze their way through things. As
Right,
that is
good.
happening, the captain who's previously like told Roscoe to try to get them to like get back, etc. He's been yelling, and he's finally like, "We have issued you every warning, and now, unfortunately, we will make you disperse. Technical officers, you may advance." And where previously you hadn't noticed, now you have no choice but to notice, like the fence coming crashing down. These guys are like just like stepping slowly forward. They have weapons, like they have a big gun. They have like these like central hub laser things that they can use, but they're not even going for that. They're just marching straight towards and eventually through the crowd, and people start to scream and start to run. Agatha, what are you doing, and can you make me a dexterity saving throw to avoid falling down?
So Agatha is I think trying to avoid being one of the people who is like outright booking it and running away, and wants to like remain in some semblance of like a crowd or a push, which is becoming like more and more difficult as more and more people are quite reasonably making decisions about their safety. And you know, as she's getting jostled, she's like trying to like keep her hands in the shouting position, is yelling shame, trying to get other chants going. But I think at some point is going to like skirt towards one of the similar sets of alleys that she had clocked on her way over as like escape routes. Perhaps one that is like not with like the crush of people as they're funneling out. But I will get that dex save real quick.
No problem. Like you're getting jostled, but you're keeping your feet with you. You're staying like above. Most of the people are trying to just like this is on a main street. Most of the people are just trying to like go back out that main street. You've kind of clocked several different paths. Some of them were cut off by the way that the Magitech armors came in. So you decide you cut off to the west. At the same time, Silas, you see people begin to turn and book their way, not necessarily like straight for you, but like moving in down this street and then out through all the neighboring alleys, like quickly. The guards that you were kind of watching a little bit, they're kind of moving out to direct people away from the building. Not like threatening or anything, but just like basically saying like, there's more soldiers here, go that way, kind of thing. So you're kind of behind them, and you could, if you wanted to, probably sneak into this facility. There is an opportunity.
Silas looks at that shop like that he is just told, that he needs to put his shutters down, and it's just such an obvious exit. It's just such an obvious like step out of the way, and he kind of balls up the pastry wrapper and chucks it in like the nearest bin. Looks back at that door, knocks on the glass, and hollers in, "Shutters down."
Yeah, you see this guy come out and begin to.
Yeah, and like he kind of gives like a hand on the one that's nearest him, and then looks at that crowd coming out, and then pivots away from the open door to just sidle on towards that building.
You're kind of making your way in. As that's happening, sorry, go ahead.
Brings up his collar again, tucks like his face away. Yeah, moseys in.
So you're kind of getting, you're choosing to go down this route. There's, with a crowd, but also being pushed away from the port gates. You're being pushed towards where you can see there's like another line of soldiers that are kind of, they're like offering escape routes, but trying to be like, don't go this way. Essentially, like keep it moving that way. Like we're armed. But behind them, you do see Silas step into this building, and you know that you could easily route around to get behind these soldiers and follow your teacher.
Oh yes, 100%. Under the black bandana, the scowl and the righteous anger like dissipates as a wicked grin like spreads across that. Like again, she has the face mask on, but I think is like quite evident in the motion even under the mask, and she is teasing, and will duck around, like circle around the soldiers as needed, in such a way that she then wants to like basically appear behind your shoulder.
As you are skulking somewhat around this facility, you do find Locke behind you.
Yeah. So are we breaking into the war crime building? Sorry, are you breaking into the war crime building, and I'll wait out here patiently and safely, following all the rules?
As you say that, you hear
I'm lost. And
you hear a
avoiding
number of
protest.
boots coming around from the other direction, heading towards the gate. So you could try to back out and leave this place, although you'll have to cross a lot of distance, or you could duck behind some crates, but probably be locked in. Like you're in this place now. And you have a moment to decide that.
Agatha goes and then like pulls us both behind the crates.
Yeah, Silas, not particular subtle or subterfuge oriented, allows himself to be pulled, and he's not he's a little bit below average height, and he is actually broad, unlike Zed's feigning broadness with a lot of clothing thing, or Zale's feigning broadness with a lot of clothing thing. It's not like a sturdy build, it's just a little heavy set, and I was just avoiding a citizen of our new empire, avoiding the protest, and I've gotten caught in here. Obviously.
What a great story. Remember that. I'm not going to get caught, so that's not a problem.
The ground beneath you rumbles again. But now directly, like, it's under that building.
Yeah. Silas points at that. He says, I just have a feeling I need to know what that is. Touch of fate, you will. Hell. In for a penny, in for a pound. Go on, then. Lead. And as he says this, he is going to just kind of reach out and lays a hand lightly on your shoulder, gives a little squeeze, and it's a familiar feeling. It's like one of those things that he's done during long tutorial sessions. You've been designated a pupil for the day.
I hate that. I hate it.
Oh, some people have full fucking subclasses. I see how it is.
Agatha pulls the mask down. She cheeses even harder, and then pulls it back up. And can I get a lay of the land for the space that we're in?
Yeah, so you're kind of in, again, it's very industrial, big metal tubes, like piping that you're not sure. It's somewhere between like an oil refinery, a cement factory, and a storage house. So there's a bunch of shipping containers, like all kinds of just like machinery. And this is what you've just ducked into past like the big central building thing. But there's like a bit of a dash you'd have to get to, but you can see there's some large doors that are like a half floor down, like you kind of have to go down a half flight of stairs to get to these large doors that would allow you to enter the building from the side, not from the main part.
Again, sort of like keeping the finger to her, one finger to her lips. She grabs your attention, Orion, Instructor Orion, and which I think she maybe says with that tone of voice and that like sort of squint in her eye.
Orion grimaces at her, which you can tell even through the mask that he has not lowered at all ever. Like once we stepped in.
We're great. We're a great pair. Points to the door to indicate that that's where we're trying to get to, and is going to like make sort of the first motion to get from the crates to like press against maybe some of the machinery to take advantage of like any shadows that they might be casting right now.
Okay,
Yeah,
go ahead and make me stealth checks. Silas, is that because of your armor?
No, why it's I didn't think I had put on a heavier armor, but I guess maybe. It doesn't matter. My first was a 4 regardless. I'm gonna figure out why it's.
Oh yeah, scale mail.
I
think is yeah. Because you probably just took the default. Well, we might mess with that later.
Yeah.
I mean, the 4's the 4.
Yeah.
I think I accidentally double rolled, so
that's okay. I mean, 17 is still far superior to a 4. Yeah, Silas, you're not really like a sneak sneaker.
Yeah,
You know,
it's
you can move quietly at need be, but this is not something you practice a lot. So you're kind of just like walking, trying not to be super obvious, while Agatha is actually sneaking and like pausing, checking corners, etc.
And
the shoot- yeah.
hearing the jangling, the smile does drop, and she shoots a glare at you. And if you make eye contact, her eyes roll into the back of her skull. And kind of then she does consider you a lost cause and is going to try her best to not worry about how you're doing.
I think Silas just like shows like the inside of his vest where all of like the office supplies and like his various tools and equipment as a teacher are still like tucked away when he had stormed out of the office. Like he's not exactly carrying the cardboard box full of his stuff, but there's a fucking stapler.
Yeah.
And I saw her back into her skull, her eyes rolled, and we didn't think it was possible. She runs, they go together.
They're fully up in there.
She
Can I get
is disgusted.
the other three to make me a group stealth check as well. So Roscoe, Asta, and Zale. This will determine how much. Okay. All right. Okay. I think I know how to deal with that. Average, not bad. The one is the
There's
one.
that one.
Okay. You guys have been steadily moving your way down into this facility. Kind of like Roscoe, you've never like actually been in the building. That's like they don't put the guards there, which is part of the reason why this is taking so long. Otherwise, it would potentially be much easier. But you kind of between you and Zale, you both kind of understand like the layouts of these kinds of places. So you're making your way around, like trying to get away from office spaces and move towards research levels. You find yourself at an elevator and you need a key card to get into it. But there's like still people in this building, so you just have to find the right one. And this is Roscoe's brain. You have to find the right one to beat up and take their key card. Zale's probably thinking, okay, I need to figure out how to like stealth this key card away from somebody.
Can I just try to?
You want to just, yeah, that was the third option.
tools?
I didn't want to mention it.
Dale is
yeah, I
not
have-
trying to stealth it. He would be
Yeah.
considering how to talk someone out of it.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Give me your card.
To charm through it. After, yeah, you look at it, you might be able to just like hotwire is not the right word, but like hack into this
Yeah.
key card, like spoof the frequency kind of thing. Go ahead and make a Tinker's Tools check.
Let's go 23.
Okay. The other two are like having their own thoughts. What's that conversation like? Actually, I want to see. So you've just come up to this elevator. You're like, okay, this is the one that will take us. Like, it goes all the way down, and you like get in, and you come up, and you hit the button, and the light's not turning on, and you see the little card reader.
Dale's like, "You got a card?"
A card. Yeah, I got a card. And I'm gonna slap it on the thing. It's gonna burn. He's gonna do it again. Burn. And then just kind of like stare at it.
Okay, we find someone that has a card. And, we'll come up with something. Probably. What if like Asta's your prisoner? Asta and I are your prisoners, and you got to take a step. Does that work? Does that? And then we
That's
just
a lot.
look over at Asta, who's just like fixed the thing.
You're just like, you just like
Door
pull out a
open.
fake card. And then you like press the button again, and it just ding, and it begins to head on down to the lowest level.
See,
Awesome.
reliable.
I was gonna go punch a white coat, but yeah, that works.
This
Not
means
all
we
people
can
with
use
white
it
coats.
again.
What'd you say?
Never mind.
The elevator hits the floor that you're looking for. Opens up. The three of you step out, and you can see there's people working on what can only be described as like what to the untrained eye looks like just a giant bomb core. It's like in like the classic like big circle bomb with a thing. It's not what it is, but it's just like a big circle piece of like machinery that is slightly glowing. It's got like catwalks connected to either side of it. There's some people like writing things down and like looking in. There's a bunch of people here. So Asta and Roscoe, you both like duck down behind some things immediately. Zale, there's like a half second where you're like, okay, I need to figure out like this is the important shit. And it's a half second too long where somebody like looks over and it says, who are you? How did you get in here?
What do you mean, how did I get in here? I swiped the card that I have on the key card. It's the only way in. You can check. There's no damage. And he
know,
just
wait-
like tries to
wait right
be like,
there.
I meant to be here.
Wait right there. He like walks over to go to start talking to you.
As soon as he walks towards me. Okay, great.
Yeah. I mean, you could walk towards him if you want, but he's like down below you. He's got to take a staircase up. So if you wanted to move towards him, you could do that.
It's just like a.
I,
This isn't like a guard. This is just like
This is like a white coat. Yeah. There's
okay.
only white coats down here. Like, this is at a point where they don't need guards, right? Because like, if you've gotten this far, you're supposed to be here theoretically.
yeah,
Is
exactly.
this the only one here? Like, is there any other ones in the room? That we
No,
can see?
there's like probably 15 people in this room. They've looked over, but they're like, there's probably another guy that's like making his way over to see what the hullabaloo is about. But most of them are like, whatever, I'm gonna keep working.
Hmm.
As he hits like the top of the stairs, Zale's like hand with those chords that he's kind of always playing with, he like lets them drop a little bit, and he begins to weave a magic symbol. And I just want to say to him, "Hey, I belong here," and cast suggestion.
Okay. Is that was it a wisdom save?
I like it.
Okay.
I think it's tell them I belong here.
Okay, sure. Before I make that save, I want to cut back over. So Agatha and Silas, you're both making your way through this facility, kind of not doing. Agatha, you're watching Silas not do a very good job at like stealthing through a facility. You do see this same elevator. You're kind of moving about here and there. You do see the same elevator that, like, you check it out. Like, there's a basement floor, like that is specially marked. You click the button. You see, like, you need a card. As you're doing that, Silas is standing, like, still kind of in the hallway, being like, looking around the elevator, trying to see if there's anything else. When somebody, like, walks out and is like, hey, who are you?
Your mom. And can I pull Silas into the elevator and just hit a random floor?
Or you just you hit the floor button to like one that works, and you go down a little bit, not to like where you think the cool stuff is, but down a little bit. What's that?
As
What's
a
that like
point,
6-second
I might have
elevator
tried to-
ride like?
As a point, I might have tried to defer to demur so that Miss Locke, they wouldn't be on full alert, but points for quick reaction, I suppose.
I mean, I can put you back up there if you want.
It's a little late for that approach.
Sure. So,
The doors open.
As the doors open, Silas's eyes have been on them the whole time.
There's three
Like-
white coats. One of which, Agatha, you see, has a key card. they're like getting ready to enter. They're looking at you like.
Silas immediately starts.
Going down.
Yeah, like, and as we're like stuck in this pause moment, and I'm presumably Agatha is trying to steal something. Silas is saying, I was supposed to have an interview, but I've been left behind by my guide.
Make a persuasion check with disadvantage.
And while this is happening, can I try to sticky finger one
Yes.
of the key cards?
You can make a sleight of hand check with disadvantage.
Great, cool.
It's, I'm
Why-
pulling
I'm
it
not
behind my
getting
frozen thing
counted.
because that's the thing that I can actually click
What
right
is-
now, and then I'll just add mine.
There you
That's
go.
fine.
Uh,
Wow, that's a crazy disadvantage roll.
Yeah. It's it's actually a 9 total, but
That's fine. I meant Agatha's was crazy good. Yours is appropriately bad.
Yep.
Rogan!
They're just like looking at you for a second, and they're like, there's a half a second where you're like, they're gonna buy it, and he's like, "Where's your visitor badge?" And-
Silas kind of
And
like
Agatha, you
checking
by
at
this
his
time have
pocket.
stolen his badge.
And I smack it to the key card reader and hit the basement button.
The store it starts to close, and he goes, "Hey, wait!" And he goes to stick his hand out to like stop the doors from closing.
Smack him.
All right, you just like smack him. He falls back. The doors close. Elevator heads down. Silas. Not Silas. Sorry. Zale. He fails. So he turns to his companion and he says, everything's fine. They're supposed to be here. And the one guy like goes, shrugs and goes back to like the boop, 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 boop that he's working on, typing something.
Yeah. Presumably, Zale looks across to Asta, who is fine, and Roscoe, who has 2 fists ready to go. Just like
Absolutely.
kind of shrugs a bit, and like steps towards Asta and is like, "You got any idea what this is? I want to make the report as soon as I can before this comes tumbling down on all of us."
Let me take a look.
I can
Can I make an?
Sorry, what was the wording again? Like you wanted this guy to be like,
Convince
they're
them
fine,
that I belong here.
and then we want him to walk away.
Yeah, I think it gives me 2 sentences, so I guess it's convince them that I belong here, then leave us alone.
Okay, that's fine.
I haven't used suggestion for ages, so it will take me a second to get back used to it. But yeah, I'll help Asta try and piece together what it is really quickly from where we
Yeah.
are, so we can send the report and then work out what needs to be done.
Do a Tinker's Tool and Arcana, like, as appropriate.
Okay.
Ooh, baby, 25.
Ugh.
You waste all those good rolls, and they,
In the session
They're-
0. To be fair,
Session zero, yeah, they're
this
pretty
is
good.
it's not my jam in
No.
terms of things I know about.
It's also hard, right? Because a lot of whatever magic is happening is covered by Magitech machinery. That's a little bit hard. You're not looking at the readouts or anything right now. So, yeah, 100%. There's a glow, like an etherite colored glow almost. So you're kind of wondering maybe there's some like they're like trying to use highly refined etherite as a generator. It's a reasonable guess that an untrained person might make. So you're looking at all of this stuff. This isn't like power going out. This is containment. They are trying to keep this in. You're looking around. You're like, the machinery is not what's important. Whatever, it's impressive to you. Like they've done a lot of stuff. They're clearly trying to like read whatever whatever output whatever's inside is giving off. But this is like a containment thing. Whatever's important is inside, and that you're not able to discern from where you are. You're going to have to get close. And as you're thinking that, the doors open behind you to the elevator.
Silas is sliding in front of Agatha. It's just like a gentle move, because if he tries to push Agatha behind him, he knows he's going to get an argument. So he just kind of tries to maneuver just a little bit so that he's the first person seen and that he's like taking up the bulk of the doorway.
Roscoe is fully pivoting on one foot, getting ready to knock whoever just opened the elevator back into the elevator, presumably out.
I feel like we're ahead. So I'm talking to Zale, like, we got to get closer. It's containment of some kind, but I don't know containment of what.
I think Zale looks back over his shoulder, really trying to act like he belongs here now that he's kind of got the like go ahead of that guy. Did the file that I got have a picture of Silas?
I mean,
you're muted.
Yes, you would. I think
Yeah.
you would know what Silas looks like. Maybe it's an old picture, but you know.
Yeah, it's probably an older picture, and like he's much more trimmed and like neatly kept at that time. He's got like 10 years less of lines in his face. He's wearing like the colors of the house that he had been serving at the time. But it's still the same man.
Zale's like, well, okay. He just in quite a low voice says to Roscoe, grab the old one.
I was like, I think I'm further away from you and Asta.
Yeah, you're
Oh, yeah.
back towards
You're
the
right.
elevator.
As we're looking at the thing. Oh, in that case, Zale kind of just watches it unfold and is like, well, okay, whatever.
Okay. Roscoe is going to punch Silas in the face.
Go ahead and make it attack roll.
Great.
It will be a reckless attack.
Hey, do I recognize that this is the same rat bastard who was like
Oh yeah.
shouting? Oh,
I
you
mean,
throw that punch.
not in the split second that the punch happens from like cover, because Roscoe's like standing next to the elevator waiting for somebody so that he can punch them. But once the punch happens, you're like, hey, I know that guy.
Yeah,
Silas's
and-
head just full rocks back almost into Agatha. Like,
Oh.
we just see
Oh,
like
it should
It didn't roll
be.
advantage.
What did I say
Okay,
your
so
fists
it's like
were?
It's like 20.
Sorry, I didn't set this sheet up.
It was a D8.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
So 11 points of bludgeoning damage.
Jeez.
yeah, we see spittle go flying, flecks of blood.
Agatha pushes in front, is chest to chest with you now. She's shorter. She's
All right.
5'6", the perfect height for a woman. She goes,
All right, a shorter person darted
jackass punching teachers, enemy.
in the heat of the
Fuck you.
moment. In the heat of the moment, shorter figure darts from behind other figure that just got punched. Second attack. I'm for the
You go
She
to
is-
throw
she
the
is saying-
fist. Hold on.
Every foul word at you in the book that she knows.
You go to throw the fist.
In the midst of this,
the-
you use one
the
word that I
people-
have not heard you use.
The people, all the scientists have looked over now, because like the suggestion did not cover these other people in the fight, right? So all the scientists are looking over, like, what the hell is going on? Somebody's going to go hit a button when, like, mid wind back, the whole room shakes. Like you stumble all slightly. Everybody make me dex saves.
There's like in some almost impressed, you hear Miss Locke at a particular swear word that you have not yet used before.
And Agatha does not clock that. She's too busy saying as many. And yeah, like she's still going.
Silas, you fall on your butt. Yeah.
Yep.
Because you like started to stand and then you're like, oh, falling back down. Roscoe, you very nearly slip, but manage to like you use your boxer instincts to right yourself. Everybody else is pretty okay. Like you grab something quite quickly, etc. Agatha, you're so power stanced that like you were ready for because you thought you were going to get hit, so you were like ready for that. You all hear in your heads a light, lilting, childlike voice say, "Help me, please." And we're going to cut the break. We will be back shortly.
Okay.
Don't go anywhere. Hello and welcome back to the second part, much shorter second part of the first session of Infinite Fantasy. You all have just heard this voice, like immediate post Rumble / mid Rumble, this voice asking for help. The sphere, which probably Silas and Agatha are now kind of more aware of, whereas when you walked in, you just saw people. Is glowing slightly, and all the scientists are like rapidly see the commotion happening, but they're slightly more concerned with this. They're like rapidly pressing buttons, and you can see like off steaming, off gassing happening from this containment thing. As per your last check, you can tell that whatever they're using here is working to a point. Whatever's inside is trying to get out, and it is slowly happening. But things, they seem to be trying to settle again. They're like rapidly typing on keyboards. Stuff is happening. I don't want to say what's everybody doing, but let's say they'll ask. So what was both of your reactions?
So Zale had already theory crafted to Thrissa that like reasons monsters can be agitated is Esper activity. If this is an Esper in containment, do I have to make a roll, or like where does Zale sit on Esper get out good for our overall mission, Esper get out bad for our overall mission?
I think that's just a judgment call you have to make. If the idea for Zale is that, or for Zed is that, okay, we should want to use whatever they're doing for our own purposes, then you don't want it to get out. If you think it's better to say, we want to fuck up whatever they're doing, and like,
okay,
lockdown in Esper is a bad idea, then you should probably want to like help break this shit.
So I think internally Zale is like, we can't guarantee rest control of this. It is sentient, so therefore it can be bargained with. I'd rather us be bargaining after saving it. And therefore shouts to Roscoe, hey Roscoe, in his like normal Zed voice, hey Roscoe, stop punching kids, help us to get this thing out. And then I'm going to walk over to try and deal with Silas and Agatha to let those two do their thing.
Okay. Moving over to the other three. So Agatha, the room just shook. You heard this in your head. This guy, Zale, has just been like, I'm gonna like, talking to this guy you're squaring off with, being like, I'm gonna deal with them. You go like break this thing. What is your reaction?
I think it's like a sort of in rapid succession. Agatha hears the child's voice in her brain, and she starts like, and her first instinct is to start shouting at Roscoe even more. Oh, you're like kidnapping kids now? That's pretty fucked up for a state to do. And then when she hears Zed, or Zed, I don't know your name yet, she blinks a bit as she starts to sort of like put the pieces with the words that you said. I think it's a reasonable extrapolation for someone like Agatha to go, oh, they're also not supposed to be here. So she shrinks back a little bit from like being in Roscoe's face as Roscoe leaves, and then like turns and looks up at Orion with like really big eyes that are suddenly just like a little bit damp and confused, as she transitions a little bit back into like a child who realizes that she is like fucked up here a bit, or misunderstood the situation. And when you're like a teenager, if that is a crime. You cannot misunderstand the situation.
Orion is like kind of wiping with a handkerchief at his mouth, and just kind of edges, not fully in front of her again, but just still like shoulder in front of her shoulder, and says, let's not get you the one the child was kidnapped next day. And looks over at Zed, Zale, and squints at him. and says, "Are you getting the thing out or keeping it in?"
Zale, before responding, and won't walk over fully unless he's sure that Roscoe and Asta are doing the get the thing out, which essentially I think he believes will boil down to Roscoe slamming scientist's face into buttons and Agatha pressing buttons correctly.
If you, sorry, you did say explicitly to get it out, so I think it's like more of a question of
Yeah.
are you letting it free or are you taking it for yourself?
Before anything, Zed pulls out from behind in his heavy cloak, pulls out a little puppet that is has a little pointed helmet and a sword, and twirls it around, attaching the strings to it just in case he needs it. And I will cast Healing Word on Silas, and say, I don't really care what happens after. It just can't be in the hands of the Empire. And then will be Silas Orion, and then list some details about you that are specifically quite unknown stuff about conversations you had with people 5-6 years ago. Then he says, I don't normally ever have the power to do this, but I'm either gonna invite you into the Resistance right now, or I'm gonna bring Roscoe back after he's finished dealing with whatever he's doing to the scientists.
Silas just turns slightly towards Agatha and says, "See, Miss Locke, one leash is nearly the same as the other." And he kind of turns back to Zale, and it's kind of like the bow that he gives it's exactly half of what you would expect in a society circle. He has clearly traveled in the society circle, but the level of adjustment he makes to it makes it a little bit more mocking, and says, "Well, I have a feeling whatever that is needs to be out of the services of the Empire as well. Though you can tell whoever gave you all those bullet points that you finally collected me." So,
After the bow, Zale completely ignores you and
Yep.
will go to stand in front of Agatha and will be "Are you okay?"
Who's asking?
He kind of looks at you for a second, goes, "Have you heard of the Keaton family?" Well, Zale Keaton.
is it how prominent is the Keaton family? Is it somebody that I'd have run into having worked with most of the kids in this area, or just?
Yeah, probably because you work with a lot of kids and families. Yes, you probably are aware of them, but it's not they're no Wayne family or something like that. Roscoe, you've been told break. You see, one of the scientists, a fight happened. There's a bunch of people here. They were it's fine, and now they're this is not fine. One of them's going for button war, panic. Roscoe, what are you doing? And Asta, I suppose.
As Roscoe's leaving, he will call over to Zale, still Zale currently. I only punched the old one. In regards to beating up the kid allegation. And then seeing this person reaching for a button, will just go for a straight punch, and it punches them directly, uppercut at the elbow, and just snaps their arm. In place.
Falls
and then
down,
immediately goes for the chin.
This guy's out. These scientists are these are scientist guys. You've just broken his arm and chinned him, probably broken his jaw. they're all like stopping what they're doing, and like looking over at you as you do this. But then they look down at their screens and like rumbling starts to happen again, and they're like, "Oh God, I gotta keep typing," and they're like working on this some more.
Corner or punch?
They look at the corner, they look at the screen, they say, "You don't understand. We can't stop doing this."
I start punching.
You're just like you're going around.
He gave the choice.
Asta, Roscoe is doing what Zale told them to do. You don't know what's going to happen if this thing is going to blow up. This could be bad for you if they just like completely stop without
Can I make an Arcana check to see if there's something magical in this tech that's indicating it, or if it's all mechanical? Okay.
If you want to go up, do you want to go like look inside the sphere, or you just want to like go down to the screens?
Look at the sphere.
Okay. You walk up, you can see inside the sphere now. There is this it's sort of like looking through frosted like glass in a sense, so it's a little bit hard to see, but there's like crystalline, and you're like, oh, this is aetherite, this is like what they use to power stuff, like, but like this is a lot of it. But when you're like looking through it, underneath like the layers, you realize you see like the almost like as they were solidified in ice, they're like curled in a slight fetal position, slightly turned so that they're not like fully away from you, but like you just see that the side relief of a to your eyes like a small woman, hard to tell because distance frosted glass, maybe like 2-3 feet tall, wings like butterfly isn't the right one, probably like dragonfly wings like spread out the back of them, clearly like not a humanoid, exactly, like magical creature inside, again crystallized, like turned away. And you hear again in your head that like same voice like pulsing. It's like, set me free.
Okay. Don't like hearing voices in my head, but if that's what Zed wants us to do, then I'll do it.
Roscoe has punched all the scientists.
Did none of them go to the corner? That's wild.
No, they were all like, we cannot stop. Like, you don't understand. We're like, if we stop, this is gonna blow up, and then you punch them in the face. So they're all unconscious on the floor.
Roscoe will turn to
I like the
Asta.
idea that you keep punching them to the newest one.
We'll return to Asta as soon as that's done. All right, is there anything over there I can break, or that you need me to break?
No, I'm okay. I'm gonna come down there actually.
Oh, okay.
Can I go to one of the computer terminals and figure out how to?
Yes, I need you to make me a very, very difficult Tinker's Tools check.
Okay.
I'm going to change the name of that to Magitech Tools as well. Okay, yeah, that's bad. Maybe if you had some of the scientists helping you or explaining, there's a lot here. It's very complicated. It's not your specialty. You begin to like rapidly type, pull up windows, try to see like, how can I like release this safely kind of thing. When all of you just hear like the sound of like almost shattering ice. And there's a seam that opens on one side of this giant metal sphere, like showering the room in light. Warning sirens are going off in the room at this point. Klaxons, there's a red light whirring, so everything's like wash in like this electronic red light mixing in with this pale, ethereal, greenish glow. As again, like an egg cracking, the metal rends. And you're all like have to put your hands to your ears because it's such a loud sound. Asta, you're like doing what you can. This thing's about to blow up. You should probably just find cover.
I don't know what I'm doing. Let's not be here when this explodes.
There's like some shielded things you could try to like duck into.
Yeah, I'll do that.
Is the elevator technically like the little cubby of the elevator? Is that cover?
It closed, but you could try to like open it up really quickly.
I say, if it looks like the gathered group of people that were by the elevator have not gotten into cover yet, Roscoe will like roadie run, tackle them
No,
to the
I'll,
ground. type of thing.
as soon as
Maybe.
as soon as the klaxons go off and Asta is like, we need to do stuff. This whole time between like stepping past Silas and the klaxons going off in Asta's words, Zale has been essentially trying to gauge how much he thinks this kid would like. Is this a kid that just stumbled into the wrong place? Is this a kid who like wants to make a difference? And if it's a kid that wants to make a difference, is it like? So he's just trying to gauge that, while also trying to slightly convince Agatha to be like, "Hey, resist on a grander scale than this. Like resistance is fighting against bigger than what you're doing." But as soon as the klaxons go off, we'll like essentially move you with the charisma of the conversation we've been having, like into the elevator, grab Silas's arm and like pull Silas in that direction
So
as well.
You
Press.
you go to like hit like elevator open, and there's no
Oh, yeah.
response because you're like, oh, like the klaxons, the elevator shut down.
Okay. Then I try and move the three of us to like behind crates. The crates
If
that
it's
they were hiding behind the hall.
if it's something that can be done quickly, if Roscoe could get over to it, Roscoe would try to just pull the elevator doors open.
And Asta's close to
Okay.
like closest to all of this, right? What's the distancing like on this?
God damn it. No.
So the room's pretty big. It's probably like a 60, 70 foot box. Like, you know, each side. It's pretty big, the room. There is, as you're looking around, you're noting, there's like a catwalk up to what seems to be like a corner observation office room type thing that wasn't occupied. That seems protected, but it's like, that's far. It's like the opposite side of the room from where you're at.
Yeah.
So if you're fast, you can get there. Roscoe, go ahead and make me an athletics check to try to like force these doors to open.
As that's going on, I'll also be casting Bless. And I'll describe that when we're at a good spot for it. What?
Roscoe will go ahead and let another trance kind of like just to help better the athletics check. So while grabbing the doors, that same like fire begins to coat his arms and is like kind of burning into the metal to get like a finger hold to try to pull the doors open. Did it roll 2 3s?
I did.
Well, that's unfortunate.
Okay. You things are kicking up for sure. So these things are like tight. These are meant to hold a lot. You get it to budge slightly, and then it like starts to jam, and you're like getting a better job at just like ripping and rending the seam than you are at actually like pushing it open. But you don't think you're gonna be able to do this in time compared to whatever's happening behind you. While that's happening, I'm going to give everybody a second. I think, Roscoe, you're doing that up until it explodes. Agatha, you're looking, you don't think this guy's got it. Where would you move to?
What amount of the space is it reasonable for me to have like assessed?
It's a big room. there's not a lot besides like computer machinery, etc. And then like the corner office thing. So you can like have fully like looked over the room and you know what everything is in here.
Okay. And what is and the corner office is like identifiable as like probably a place that is the most shielded from any explosion.
You would guess, yeah, probably that
Okay.
seems to be like thick double pane glass.
Agatha gives a shout at I think even Agatha gives a shout, which she is hoping that Roscoe also like in particular hears. She goes, "Stop fucking with the elevator. We're getting to the office," and is like just going to like dash over that way herself.
Okay, you're able to, because you're quick. You're able to get there by the time that this is happening. Nobody else is going to be fast enough, but does anybody else follow?
Silas will follow, but part of the reason that there's just no way he's going to make it there is that he pauses to cast Bless on. He moves a little bit in the direction of Asta to get her into the range of his Bless. Casts that on her, Zale, the retreating back of Miss Locke, and himself.
You're doing that. You get Bless. So you can roll the d4. Not gonna,
And that
it's
looks
not gonna
like
help that much,
that
but
looks like
I didn't think.
him reaching out. No, I didn't.
it's
I
not a
only
skill
had
check.
political.
It's ability and attack rolls.
And also, Roscoe didn't get blessed.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
I blessed.
Oh, my bad.
Roscoe punched me in the face, and I have this for saving throws and the fragile people. It looks there's this moment where like as he like kind of points at each person in turn, and he just kind of like sweeps his hand through their air, and a faint outline of them appears, just kind of in a purple and a gold glimmer, and then he books it to towards Locke, trying to tuck himself into like the nearest crate as he sees he's not going to make it.
Okay. So you're hunkered down. Zale, where are you? You kind of seen the elevator's not an option. Roscoe's still kind of. You just want to try to find any cover, or are you going to try to follow Agatha?
I think Zale was going to follow Agatha based on how like their conversation had been going, but like Agatha just ran off, didn't say anything.
No, I did. I
He-
shouted, "Stop fucking with the elevator. We're
Nothing-
going to the
Nothing he
office."
cares about. Nothing he
Okay,
cares
cool.
about. Like in that you didn't say anything in relation to what he had been talking about. So he looks around. You said Asta's hunkered down somewhere.
Yeah, kind of like. There seems to be like these are big consoles. These aren't like a modern computer. These are like big. They're Final Fantasy computers. You know, they're like giant, crunchy machinery things. So you could definitely like get down behind
Yeah.
one of them.
So Zale's like, okay, I was gonna try and save that kid somehow, but whatever. And like just sprints to where Asta is, and like on the way shouts at Asta to tell him what to report, like what she saw. And Asta is dead and does not respond to me in any fashion. This is
No, Maddie, what do you say back to Zale?
What did you say?
Are we going to break?
what
Oh.
did you see?
A dragonfly creature asked to be helped.
Okay, Zale cracks the signal sphere and sends back contained Esper, releasing it. Maybe not the best idea. And then takes his coat off and chucks it on Asta as if that extra level of protection might help somebody.
the coat falls over. Agatha, you make it in the building or in the like a little office space. You see there's like a bunch of papers everywhere. But you're the only one. Everybody else like was not fast enough or did went for other cover. You can see Silas moving that way, but just hesitated too long. When like all of you have to like shield your eyes as this core like shatters and breaks. The metal is thrown to like these far ends of the room in chunks. Can I get everybody except for Agatha to make me dexterity saving throws? And Roscoe, you have disadvantage because
That would be
you
less.
didn't attempt for
Would it-
cover.
Would it be
Do I
flat
have
with
less?
danger sense?
Yes, that would be correct.
We both got blessed, Maddie.
Yep. Okay. 7 plus a d4. It's not gonna be help. Wow. Great.
We're good at this.
Mm-hmm.
I'm glad we're so close to it. That's probably good.
And
I'm-
I'm proficient even.
You both took cover, so I'm including that in my kind of.
Okay, great.
Oops. Your toesies are touching. Okay. Well.
Classic. Just everybody gets around a 10 except for the barbarian. He's like, I'm fine.
Right, Roscoe, you you're gonna take half, as well as Zale. Everybody's gonna take half. Sorry.
And with
Ooh,
my
that's nice.
like with my other character feature, are we saying that maybe I haven't channeled fate for the day, or like all that-
You can have those if you want. You do them now if you like.
sure?
I was actually
That's,
waiting. I meant to ask you about that earlier.
So I roll my d6s, and I think because it would have usually been a school day, they would have all been fortune that I would roll at. So I'm predicting
makes sense to
fortune
me.
for all of them. And rolling the wrong button. Hold on. There you go. Rolling. Actually rolling. Yep.
So you get
So one
one.
fortune die.
Yeah.
And Ast is very visibly within this, like closest to it.
Correct. Yeah.
I'll throw that at Asta.
Okay, Asa, you can add a d6 to your roll.
Oops. God. Let's see if that works or not.
How about damage is this?
right.
9.
Kitty.
No, it's probably slashing. These are sharp metal things.
Okay, so I would get reduced further.
Yeah. I mean, Roscoe, you're fine.
Okay.
There we go. Okay, sorry. Cat had typed on the keyboard. +2, so 12 for total.
The scientists are dead. Like,
I assumed that was true from Roscoe Punches.
I think Roscoe can like hold back
I
enough
was-
not to straight
I was
kill
mocking.
them.
I was knocking them out.
But they're unconscious on the floor when shards of metal are flying throughout the room. Like they're taking,
Mhm.
they're bleeding out, if nothing else. Yeah. So all the metal goes flying to the sides of the room in pieces, tattered. This like aetheryte sphere core is cracking along the same lines that the metal was like being sheared away. And everybody now, if they like, after your eyes clear, looks over and see it start to shatter. It's like almost turning into to dust and mist. And this pixie, like kind of like lets out their wings and like cries out in pain. And you all feel this tingling sensation somewhere in your spines. The pixie starts to shatter alongside all the aetheryte, turning likewise into this glassy sand like amalgamation. As that happens, energy just shoots through the roof, like just straight up beam of energy through the roof.
It's fine.
There's a hole. There's just a hole in the roof now. And water from various pipes is like dripping down in. You can see the sky. There's a huge rumble. You all are alive, and you feel different somehow. So that's where we're going to end this first session. You're all level 6 now.
Jesus. Okay.
Yay.
Nice.
And we're going to come back to this next week. Next week, everybody's here, yes? I believe so.
Yeah.
I'm
Talk
not.
about those things. Okay.
No, Chris.
Maybe Roscoe will pass out. But
Well,
we'll
I'm
be back
glad
next
we got
week.
to start.
Thank you all for
Yay.
playing. I hope you enjoyed it. I was moving things along quickly there at the end, but we will see you all next time. Bye bye for now.
Uh,
Ta-ta.